Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, where in today's video, Night Rod Greg here, in His Majesty's Australian ship Vampire 2, is going to be, as the Chinese like to say, living in interesting times. And speaking of which, I think we're all kind of at that point in World of Warships at the moment, although we're not quite there yet. What I mean is, well, when it got to the point in World of Tanks where I looked at the team lists and just didn't even know what half of the tanks were in-game, that was the point where I felt it was time to give up. That was the point where I felt that they were just, they'd given up on providing quality gameplay and were just focusing on milking the customer for as much as possible by selling premiums and ships that you had to grind tanks that you had to grind battle passes for. And we're not quite yet there in World of Warships, but we can kind of see it from here. I mean, most of the ships in this battle I've heard of. I know what they are, I know what they do. But, I mean, Greg here's divisioned up with an Aki. What the hell is an Aki? I mean, it's some kind of Japanese battleship. That much is obvious from the name. But other than that, your guess is as good as mine. There's a Prince Adalbert on his team as well. I mean, I'm guessing it's German, but again, other than that, haven't got a clue. It's the same on the enemy team. I mean, there are at least 3 ships on the enemy team, maybe 4, where I'm thinking, what? And, yeah. What actually triggered this line of thought was logging into the game in order to record this replay from Greg. And before even logging into the game, as the game was updating, because there's been a patch, I noticed that there's a Lunar New Year event going on. Okay, so I took a quick look, and 75% of the ships didn't have the faintest idea what any of them were. Yeah, that point is fast approaching. If you spend, let's say, a month away from a game and then you come back and you don't recognise at least half of the combat vehicles anymore, yeah, it's time to move on to another game. Anyway, so, HMAS Vampire. We've featured this ship before, so I'm not going to go into laborious detail about the details, but basically it's a daring. Oh, and the ship exists, by the way, and still does. It's a museum ship in Sydney, in Australia. It's basically a British daring that's lost the torpedo launcher, and has sadly also lost access to the repair party consumable, but other than that, it's better than the already impressive HMS Daring in just about every respect. It's got higher damage per second, it's got longer range torpedoes, it's got better stealth, and it gets access to a 5-kilometre hydro rather than the standard 3-kilometre but long duration hydro that British destroyers have. And of course, because it's a Commonwealth Navy ship, instead of the British destroyer static, short duration but quick recharge smoke, it gets a crawling smoke generator. Oh, he's spotted. That's not good. Pops the hydro, because if he's being outspotted, that probably means there's torpedoes on the way. Yep, sure enough. Don't even know what that is. What the hell is a Minigamo? I mean, it's obviously a Japanese destroyer, but again, never heard of it. See, if he'd been in a regular British destroyer, his hydro would not have had the range to be able to do this. But he's not, so he can. Which means, of course, that the Minigamo over there, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. How would I even know if I was pronouncing it correctly? I've never heard of the thing until now. This is my point. Anyway, it's dead. Doesn't matter. Oh, and there's another. What the hell is a Tempesta? You know what? I've given up caring. There are just too many new ships every time I log in for me to bother even trying to keep up. We're rapidly approaching that point. Anyway, getting spotted there by, well, appropriately enough, a spotting aircraft, popped his smoke. Remember, it's a crawling smoke, you don't have to stay still in it, and there's the defence. And you know what, if that had been any other cruiser, those torpedoes would have probably hit, but the defence is a British cruiser, and British cruisers have amazing throttle response. It's getting absolutely hammered, of course. Maybe not such a good idea to poke out around an island broadside on in front of not only a smokescreen, but what I'm assuming his division mate in the Aki is a Japanese battleship. So the defence could have survived this. Would have taken a lot of damage, but it could have survived. Instead of continuing to push into this hail of fire, it could have simply nosed in and then backed up. I mean, there's even a smoke screen around the corner of that island, but no, he chose violence. And, well, violence is what he's going to get. I actually like the defence. I think it's a very good ship. It's a little situational. The armour's not good, but the guns are amazing. French cruiser, Le Havre. I don't feel like I should be painting that with the same brush as ships like the Minigumo or the ZH-1 on the enemy team, whatever the hell that is, probably some kind of German destroyer, or the Prince Adalbert. I feel like I should know what that is, but I don't. Although I'm not going to blame the game for that one. I think that one's on me. Note, by the way, Greg's team still don't have a single cap circle, and if not for him contesting this central cap at Bravo, they wouldn't even be in the running to have a single cap circle. Which is, of course, why, despite technically leading 3 kills to 1, they're still actually trailing the enemy team on points. But now that they have successfully fought off all opponents, maybe Greg will be allowed to take this cap circle without being further bothered by the enemy team. You'll note, of course, he's got the RPF skill, radio position finding, or, I don't know, do they call it radio location now? Whatever. I'm just going to call it RPF. I know what I like, and I like what I bloody well know, alright? So that arc is pointing in the direction towards the closest enemy ship. It's not revealing the location, he doesn't know what ship it is, it's just, there's an enemy ship, it's there, and it's the closest one to you. Very, very useful skill, as we're going to see later on in this battle. Mild spoiler alert there. So, they've taken the central cap. The enemy team now have a 150 point lead because they've not only had 2 cap circles for basically the entire game, but they've also managed to pull back a couple of kills. However, Greg isn't the only destroyer on the team who's playing the objectives. The friendly USS Summers is now threatening the enemy cap circle at Alpha. Now, he's going to need to be very, very careful because there are 2 enemy destroyers over there. And I know what at least one of them is. The Halland. The other one's the ZH-1, which, beyond probably being something German, your guess is as good as mine. Then again, I mean, those 2 enemy destroyers are going to have to be careful as well. Because the Summers is not going in there without support. And of the 2 ships in a position to support him, I actually know what one of those is too. There's a common theme developing throughout this battle. I wonder if you can see what it is. There's the Le Havre. Guns pointing the wrong way. Spotted by the Summers, who is now smoking up. Yeah. And since the Summers is smoking up and has gone unspotted, that means it's time for Greg here to do the same. Oh, that was an incredibly lucky blind shot from somebody. Or possibly just an accurate aim shot fired by somebody further away before the smoke went up, but the Le Havre's got respotted. I'm pretty sure that's one of those French cruisers with really, really big guns, so the smoke firing penalty means every time he pulls the trigger, he's going to suck on a torpedo there. One of those is going to hit. Yep, that's it. He's got him. Oh, that might have been the ship that hit him. But what even is that? Alright, I feel like I've made my point. But seriously, what is it? Oh, man. I mean, I'm looking at the turret and it looks kind of German. But honestly, your guess is as good as mine. I'll tell you what I do know. Its damage control crews are looking a little bit overwhelmed. He's switching to the armor piercing now. Remarkably consistent damage with the armor piercing. But you really do kind of need a broadside target. And oh look, it's a broadside target. And now it's dead. Kill number 3. So, I believe, well, yeah. Oh, and the Summers has taken the cap at Alpha. Good job. So, good news. The team now have 2 cap circles. They're still only just, and largely thanks to Greg here, ahead on kills, but because the enemy team played the objectives right off the bat and got those 2 cap circles early, they're still trailing on points. Also, they still have 2 enemy destroyers behind them, the Halland and the ZH-1. which I believe is why Greg is heading over here. Because, he's taken a battering. The Summers has taken a beating. But they can't afford to leave 2 enemy destroyers unspotted behind them while they turn to face the rest of the enemy team. And there. I was wondering why it was taking them so long to try to retake this cap at Alpha, but there's at least one of them in there now. And you can see that Greg is following the direction of the RPF indicator. Although that very suspicious looking smoke screen over there is a fairly obvious indicator, but if the RPF indicator was pointing in a different direction, that would be the other enemy destroyer, unspotted, and not hiding in smoke. So it's still useful. It still tells you things. But it's the ZH-1, which I'm guessing is something German. And it's something that's about to get the shit kicked out of it. It's too far away for Greg to hydro it, despite the impressive 5-kilometre range of the... that looked like it hurt. Oh, he's smoking up again. That was unexpected. His inevitable demise, however, was not. Cap defended, no longer contested, so wherever the Halland went, he's no longer in that cap circle. In fact, the RPF indicator is now pointing in that direction. Kind of surprising there, though, the ZH-1 being able to smoke up again so quickly after its initial smoke expired. I don't know if that's something special about that ship, if it has a very, very long duration smoke, or just a short cooldown on the smoke generator. But, you know what? And I just can't be bothered to look it up. There's just too many changes. I give up trying to stay up to date on all of them. The one thing I do know is that he wasn't taking advantage of the Halland's smoke, because the Halland doesn't get smoke. So, yeah. Right, anyway, how are we doing? Well, the kills are even. Both teams have 4 ships surviving. But the tables have most definitely turned because, well, thanks to Greg and the USS Summers, his team now have the cap advantage. Although the enemy team are still ahead on points. I cannot overstress just how valuable an early cap circle lead is. Although the point situation is about to change, because the hybrid aircraft carrier that the enemy team managed to sneak in looks like it's about to die. And if Greg's lucky, he's the one to get the kill. There is now only a 50-point or so difference between those two teams. And provided everybody can stay alive with a 2-cap circle advantage, they will soon pull ahead on points. Easier said than done, of course. Note he's looking in the direction of the RPF indicator as well. They've just lost the Jaeger. And looking at the health of his division mate in the Aki, which again I'm assuming is some kind of Japanese battleship, I think they might be about to lose somebody else. Although maybe they can take the Halland with them. Halland got himself spotted. The Halland's gone down. Nice. Good job, Summers, by the way. Oh, I just had to go and open my mouth, didn't I? Yeah, they've lost the Summers. This is bad. He should be able to take out the Katsonis, however. I mean, he's smoking up because, you know, he's on low health, he's spotted, and he's not stupid, but he's kind of tucked in amongst the rocks there. It's very, very easy to estimate his position. Yeah, got him. And there's the Kraken unleashed. Right, 2-on-1. Vampire and Aki. Very, very low health Aki versus Petropavlovsk. The Petro's HE isn't amazing, however. Then again, it doesn't need to be amazing to deal with a battleship on that many hit points. Greg gunning the motor here, trying to get around there and assist his teammates. He's well within torpedo range against this Soviet cruiser. Torpedoes away. And since the Petro is currently engaged in a gunfight with a battleship... Oh, wow. Holy Soviet secondaries, Batman. What the hell's going on here? Oh, the Petro's secondary's that good? Oh, well, smoke up. He's taken out the Aki. You know the other thing about the Petro? It's a radar cruiser. And because the Petro's not stupid either, there goes the radar, which means Greg is now living in a world of shit, and the Petro is still about 40 points ahead, and contesting the central cap. So both teams now have exactly the same number of points coming in. And then 2 very crucial things happen at the same time. Greg takes out the Petro, but the Petro takes him out. However, because a cruiser is worth more points than a destroyer, when there are no ships left alive, the team with the most points wins. And that literal last-second points exchange meant that his team finished on 826 points, and the enemy team finished on 809. And despite that Herculean carry and last-second clutch, he was not officially the best player on his team. Now, there was only 15 points in it, so it was close, but first is first. I would have liked to have seen the battle from his perspective, because it looks like he was living in interesting times too. Either way, well done to both of them for that utterly amazing last-second clutch. Hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.